Hey guys, Lytane here, and as a big time fan of horror, I watched the latest movie, Slender Man. So now I want to talk about it. This is going to be no spoilers or anything like that, just my overall impressions of the movie. Slender Man is a new kind of monster, where we've had zombies and vampires and werewolves and aliens for practically forever. The Slender Man is a new kind of bad guy. He's a new villain. He is something that has been made up in the last decade or so, with origins that can go back a bit further, but mostly what you see now is made in the last decade. So of course Hollywood had to get in on that and make a movie. As a horror film, I've got to say that this film is not very scary. There is a lot of tension and a lot of build up in a lot of the scenes where Slender Man's sort of in the background and all that kinds of stuff, which is fantastic, but they execute them so poorly. Usually the end of it involves a jump scare or Slender Man coming towards the camera or something like that, and that just totally killed the mood for me. The Slender Man is supposed to be in the shadows. He's supposed to lure you to him. He's not supposed to be going after you, and I think that is the core thing that this movie got wrong. Slender Man is always in the forefront. He is always there in your face. There are a few times in this movie where they got Slender Man right, like near the beginning of the film, after they find out what Slender Man is and they're doing a little bit of research on him, the four main girls are sitting in front of a computer and their shadow behind them starts looming up and looming over them in the shape of Slender Man. And that's fantastic because it was very subtle. It's not drawing your eye to it. It's like not a big red circle over Slender Man. And I think it was incredibly creepy. I'm like, that's really done well. And it was near the beginning of the film, which gave me hope. Then about like 10 minutes later, it all gets thrown out the window where they're just showing you Slender Man and his weird looking face all the time. And I'm like, this is not scary. I have been following Slender Man for a long time, and I'm a big Marble Hornets fan. When they get it right, Slender Man is supposed to be in the background. There are times where in this film they were doing research on Slender Man to find out what he's about, and they were watching some other videos that other people have filmed of Slender Man, and no joke, they put a big red motherfucking circle around Slender Man to show you, oh, there he is, just in case you didn't see him. That is not the point of Slender Man. He's supposed to be in the background, scaring the fudge out of you. And then every now and then when he does come up to you and he does confront you, that makes it all the more scary because you're so used to seeing him far away, moving slowly, not doing much, and then for him to confront you, that is where the scares are. The setup for this movie was also incredibly dumb. They watch a movie online, sort of like The Ring, in order to summon Slender Man into their lives. And I watched and I was like, why? Out of all the things, like, Slender Man's known for going after children anyway, why not just have them start stalking them or anything like that? They watched a video and the video doesn't even play into the movie. I thought it was going to be a little bit more like The Ring, where there would be clues hidden in the movie in order to find out where he is or stop him or something like that, but no. Near the end of the film, there are some images from the clip that they saw in real life, or that they go to, but it doesn't have any bearing on the plot, aside from, oh, this is the way to get Slender Man into your life. I was like, this is such a poor way to introduce the main villain. In fact, just before that, they had to Wikipedia him in order to find out who he was, and I'm like, oh, wow, this is really, really dumb. By the end of the film, I had no idea what Slender Man's powers were. That is bad. There were no ground rules put in place. There was nothing for me to grasp onto with Slender Man himself because I had no idea what he was about. At some points in the movie, he is summoned by a bell, which you hear in that beginning movie. At other times, it's a static sound. At other times, there's no sound at all. It is so inconsistent, and the fact that what he is doing is inconsistent. At one person, he's like, he has like this Wi-Fi mode where he can transport his vision into somebody else's phone so then they can see that he's coming to get them, which I guess is an interesting idea, but it's just handled very poorly, and he does it twice in the film and then not at all like to the other characters. Some characters he like gets up in personal and scares them. Sometimes he uses his tentacles to grab people, which is not something that he usually does in the mythos, but I'm okay for changing the mythos and making a movie if they ground it. Some people, like, if you look at Slender Man, then you go crazy, and then for the rest of the film, they keep looking at Slender Man. Like, you just told us if you look at him, you go crazy. Why not close your eyes? I get that you're scared, but I thought that was going to become a plot point. Like, if you close your eyes and don't look at him, then he can't do anything to you. But nope, they dropped the ball on that. There's no consistency from start to finish that I had no idea what Slender Man could do next. And in fact, he just did random things all the time. Sometimes he's a shadow, sometimes he can walk through walls, sometimes he's outside, sometimes he teleports, sometimes he does not. And all of this, I was like, I don't get it. And that is why the movie sucks. The acting in this movie is not very good. The storyline is piss poor. The monster is ill-defined and has no idea what he's doing. The plot of the film is also really, really lackluster. And the fact that they have to point out Slender Man all the time and focus on him all the time was a real big letdown. He should have been a menace. He should have been something that is stalking the kids, not something that is upfront and personal with them all the time. I honestly looked forward to this movie just because I was like, hey, they have a big budget. I'm like, Marble Hornets did a pretty good job with no budget, and this is like Hollywood, so I shouldn't have been so hopeful. Hollywood screws up things all the time. Don't watch this film. It's a piece of crap, and I honestly think like you should just watch some of the YouTube series on Slender Man because they are so much better. So give this one a miss, guys.